All car guys have one thing in common, a need to be smarter and faster than those around us. And though you can't covet your neighbor's wife, I say covet your neighbor's car. And that's where the entire concept of tuning begins. We've all been outdriven, outspent, or outtuned at some point in our lives, and that's why we watch videos like this, to learn how to be faster than those around us.
The rear is stripped, just have a harness bar. Sorry, no more passengers, just one girl in the front. I always saw James as a friendly rival, just for the fact that we go to the same school, we have the same car.
Eventually, in the next couple of years, I want to go wide body, and then wider wheels and tires, and then hopefully turn into like a full track spec car.
The next thing I want to do to the car is get a wide body like everybody does. I mean, hey, we both put power down. Yeah, mine's a little more track oriented, his more show oriented, but I mean, friendly rivals makes the cars better.
Tuning is at the core of our shared car culture. We all create, modify, and augment in order to achieve a singular goal: to bask in individuality against others who don't care as much. Under the hood, we've got a US 04 STI engine. So it's a 2.5 liter with a turbo, 300 horsepower. Everything else in the drivetrain is from the original RS. So 5-speed transmission, axles, and all that stuff. The brakes are stock, which is not exactly ideal. And it's a little bit stance nation, which means that, watch, when I cut this corner, oh, there's the rub. Yep, yes. But what's really nice about it is it's a clean swap. I mean, full STI interior, it looks good, the engine runs really smooth, makes nice power, and when you're talking about a 2,900 pound car, it's not like you need this thing to be 500 horsepower. 300 horsepower for 2,900 pounds is more than enough. Oh, I just don't want, every time it rubs. Let's wind it out a little though. Yes. 2.5 liter makes good power. That was 8 miles an hour there.
Compared to the STI, it's lighter weight, it's more desirable. Everyone likes the original 22B style. So, I mean, I've been into these cars for when they came out in 1999, and I bought it in 2007 and just been slowly building it ever since.
The suspension department, we've got some Tyne coilovers along with stock STI sway bars. The best part about this car is just the size of it. It's the right size. It's a little rally car. The proportions are great. I think this is one of the best looking Subarus that they ever made. I mean, certainly the WRX and the 22B in other countries. And I'm glad that Subarus are like Legos and you can just swap a different motor in there. That's great. I mean, the fact that you can just buy an STI motor and plop it into one of these. 10 years ago, swapping a full STI drivetrain or even just the STI motor into a 2.5 RS was a pretty expensive proposition. Now, thanks to JDM rules and how these available engines that are relatively low miles, the fact that there's lots of Imprezas laying around now, you can actually do this swap for an unbelievably small amount of money. I mean, it's crazy how cheap they got these cars. I'm actually a little bit jealous.
As a starter car, the RS, even the L, like Irvin mentioned, would be a great starting ground for anyone that wants to build up a Subaru. I mean, nowadays you can get an L for a couple grand. I mean, maybe even cheaper. The limits are endless. I mean, you can do the swap like us and keep building if you want.
It started as a just stock 2.5 RS. Nothing too crazy. Little by little, got it swapped. New color, suspension, and pretty much stripped interior. Nothing much going on, and that's how it is. The car is great for engine swaps because, well, the car is light as it is. I mean, 2-door coupe. Well, all the new ones are 4 doors now, and they weigh almost 600 lighter than a brand new STI, so why not have the same horsepower as one too?
All right, so we've got the same just over 300 horsepower, but rather than the 2.5 liter in the blue car, this one has an EJ20K which is the JDM STI engine, readily available because of Japan's laws on how many miles an engine can have on it. It also has a normal length shifter, the Nardi steering wheel, which you'd find in a 22B, no interior, racing seats, and a track setup suspension, sticky tires, yes, bigger brakes. This is my kind of car. Oh, it's got a nice blow-off noise. It's interesting, you'd expect the 2.5 liter to have a lot more mid-range torque just because of the displacement. The power bands really do feel kind of the same. This one just really feels like I could huck it harder. This one is inspiring me to be a total hooligan. I mean, this is a rally car for the street, time attack car. Love the way the boost comes on. Love the way the Nardi wheel feels in my hands. Love the way that every single one of my inputs translates directly to a change in what the car is doing. And I'm approaching 8 miles an hour on this very tight canyon road. No problem at all from the Subaru. And I'm catching up to a Porsche. And like all Porsche drivers in the canyons, this one's going slow. Make sure to ride his ass a little bit. The very definition of whipping. This is like driving a little mosquito that's on a whole bunch of great drugs.
I have a JDM engine, which he doesn't. He's stuck with the USDM. It's a double-edged sword.
I can get it smogged. That's a big plus for me. So I think that's one of the big advantages of having a US motor.
I love JDM parts. I mean, they weren't factory here. You had to get them imported or some private owner that had them already imported over here. Some parts are rarer than others, and it's just a little collection for the car. I love having a loud car, but yeah, as soon as you see a cop or you go through residential in the middle of the night, sometimes you wish you don't make that much commotion, but hey, my pride and joy.
I actually like the stealth mode. I drive right past cops and they don't even look at me. Eventually I'll probably go full catless turboback, headers, pipe, everything.
It's not that I needed much convincing. I mean, I always liked the RS, and I always knew that putting some more horsepower in one would make a big difference. Because even when these cars were new in the late 90s and early 2000s, 165 horsepower really just wasn't enough. I mean, look, a car adding power to it, it doesn't overpower it. It makes it come alive. I mean, odds are I'll never drive a WRX 22B. Is my holy grail of all-wheel drive cars. But I have this, and in my hands, in my ears, in my eyes looking out the hood, this is what I believe that would be like. It's hard to recommend sports cars on a budget because the car has to reflect your personality. Though James loses points for not tuning his suspension and brakes in the canyons like we'd want, he gains them back on the streets of LA, where his car's style reflects his own driving habits. Irvin's car is how we'd do it, dialed in to inspire an unbelievable amount of confidence while driving hard in the hills or at the track. Style takes a backseat to speed, but not by much, and we like that. Neither of these cars cost more than $15,000 and are stupidly fast for what you get. While making this film, the Roush Mustang we used as a chase vehicle had a very hard time keeping up. So to those looking for cheap speed and WRC style for the street, the dirt, or the track, look no further than the Subaru RS STI.
That was amazing.
Tell me you were speeding on that. Oh. Did you see the hook on that? Did it go in the bed? It went in the back seat. It went in the snack box, in the back. It's in the left side of the back seat.